signature hero for him here, maybe just something he's slightly more comfortable. Although he has a lot of experience. Storm, Queen of Pain, and are always pretty safe bets when it comes to G playing them in that lane. So definitely not a bad Queen of Pain game. Something to contribute into the Chronosphere, which to some extent they were lacking, at least out of a core role. And you mentioned kind of the anti-synergy between the Lifestealer and the Void, and we'll see how Empire's able to fare here. Seems like both teams fairly comfortable in terms of player hero combinations with what they've got out of this draft.
Lifestealer definitely gets a lot better up against that last pick Luna, just Eclipse proof completely with that rage. Pretty darn useful when you just jump in with the Queen of Pain to kill off that one hero, especially if it's a Luna quickly, and so their Queen of Pain can definitely do that. Still think that Puck is probably a little bit better here, but you know, I'm not going to doubt Empire. That's lane matchup. Like Navi's decision to put the Ursa over in the mid lane is something that is pretty easily punishable by Empire just simply by not doing that much. Queen of Pain should have a pretty decent time there, but that's of course where the support duo comes in from Navi. Sneko, Shadow Demon, Artstop, Kunkka, pretty classic disruption torrent combo, and just with that extra slow attached to that torrent, yeah, it's not going to get kills on Queen of Pain all the time because of Blink, but this is one of the most dangerous Shadow Demon combos you can possibly pick up.
I mean, essentially with the X marks, you can force the Queen of Pain to be in the fight for 4 seconds. She can't blink out under the X, of course. So it's a really good tool to have up against a Quap, and you know, similarly against a Storm Spirit, which is why I didn't love either of those two picks up against Artstyles Kunkka. But regardless, I mean, this is a hero that G is very comfortable on, so we should see him be able to position himself accordingly up against the Kunkka matchup, but definitely feels like he's going to come out of the mid lane fairly happy.
And Empire supports, you know, they are able to do quite a bit as well. We've seen Elder Titan, you know, sometimes do nothing, other times just roam around and kill everyone all the time, but trying to kill off what I assume to be is tanking matchup towards top lane is going to be possible, though General just has to be sure to keep that lane, you know, a little bit, play it a little bit cautiously. A cask into open wounds and whatnot with the Stomp and Spirit overhead. It's a lot of damage, not really the cleanest kill combo in the world for Empire, but it doesn't seem like any of these lanes are going to be just completely safe free roll lanes. Maybe the Void, if he's going to go down south, then it's probably the safest lane for any of these teams.
General, straight up to the top lane. Gonna drop himself down a ward, and yeah, he's gonna block up the camp as well. Try and give himself a little bit of vision, hopefully, for his sake, not dewarded too quickly. King R gonna run into him under the cover of smoke, and that's gonna tip General off, as it was probably there planting a lane ward. So that could be some free early golden experience for either General or one of his supports.
Is this a mid Luna safe lane Ursa? Looks like it.
2 pooled tangos for Ditya, so yeah, certainly looks like he's posturing to go mid, and I don't know that the Luna mid is that much better against the Queen of Pain than Dendy's Ursa. If you just get an early bottle on either of these heroes, you can survive in the lane, but I'm not sure that hampering Ditya's farm, essentially putting him mid, is the call here for Navi, but looks like what they're going to opt to do for now. Windlace, Dendy, early on going to help him to... The one we can definitely say is that Ursa has a much better matchup against the Void than Luna does, so perhaps just looking to shut down Ghost Stick a bit.
I mean, Ursa's just more valuable to have in either of those lanes. Like, they're opting to slow down the Faceless Void instead of slowing down the Queen of Pain. If they do get that Torrent combo off with the Destruction over towards the mid lane, then with an Ursa there, Queen of Pain is super dead. With the Luna there, she's taking a lot of damage, and Blink out is actually still kind of viable even with the X marks.
Right.
It might just be enough damage regardless, in which case, you know, this is nothing but a benefit here for Navi, but I don't think Luna does substantially better than Ursa versus the Queen of Pain. I think they're about the same. It's just when the rotations come in, who do you want to have in that mid lane? Do you want to have a Luna or do you want to have an Ursa? And I would rather have an Ursa most of the time, but yeah, we'll see. So Nick, we're going to start things off by trying to poke him back. Suddenly it's a 2v3 mid lane, so that's not where Luna wants to be.
Yeah, definitely so, and he should have a good time in this mid lane, kind of regardless of what either of the 2 lane opponents that he had there. But Dendy can stand tall, and it looks like they actually swapped up the lanes for Empire side as well. Aloha Dance on his lifestealer going to take towards this bottom lane. Has a little bit more sustain over time with the Feast, whereas the Void, he needs to rely on his Time Walk, which is a very long cooldown early on. And up against the Ursa, who's just constantly right-clicking him with the extra move speed from the Windlace and the Fury swipes, it's very hard to get value out of that Time Walk. Pretty wise decision, it seems, from Empire. And Dendi, bot lane, Stomp going to come out, will connect onto him. Body blocks are there. They need a couple more right clicks, and they don't have it though for Aloha Dance. And Dendi will salve up, and it may just force Aloha to use a good chunk of his regen as well. So when all is said done, walking under the tower a bit costly for him. No open wounds up for Aloha Dance. Sword style was a bit far forward. What it looks like for now, the skirmishing will cease in the bot lane.
Final configuration of top lane at least going to be pretty darn good for Navi. Even though Ghost Stick, is Face the Void, Time Walk is definitely a spell, General is Sand King, and Caustic Finale is very balanced, as we all know, especially going up against another mid laner. So that should be a lane where Navi are not going to have to focus too much of their attention. This bottom lane is going pretty well for Empire right now, but the Ursa gets level 3, level 4, it will get a lot worse. The Ursa will just be able to claw through the lifestealer in seconds flat. So it looks like the ultimate way that these lanes are landing is the most problematic for Navi over towards the mid lane, where they don't really have any convincing way of shutting down G. Applying pressure is difficult with just these two heroes for Navi, and bottom lane you're going to go in again for Style. I don't think the Horn's going to save him. Maladev's going to hurt.
The Stomp coming through, but Poshka getting low. They will keep Dendi slept up. King are going to rotate through, body block him from going forward for more. Aloha Dance in a bit of trouble though with the soul from the Earthshock. One right click's going to be barely short. Can he get there in time? With the boots of speed up onto Aloha Dance, he will be able to make it away. Dendi dropping another Earthshock, but not going to catch a kill. And Poshka will end up suiciding. So the offlane for Empire is going to be the one to bear fruit first. But yeah, as you mentioned, melee on melee top. Navi going to be pretty happy with this matchup. And in mid, since Seneko has been present, 12-3 is the CS currently for Ditya, so not shut down by any means, especially relative to his counterpart G, who's 11-4 on the Queen of Pain.
They are splitting experience, so that is going to be a cost that will maybe come to catch up to this Luna, having a slightly slower Eclipse, or Seneko just splitting experience, and you have a couple of level 4, level 5 heroes once the level 6 comes up on Queen of Pain. Even in a 1v2 matchup, Queen of Pain just all AoE damage, so a rotation from an Elder Titan or something like that, and you're looking at a couple of at least vulnerable kill targets for Empire to consider going for. So I really want to see where this Witch Doctor and Elder Titan are actually going to end up. They're going to stay on this bottom lane. Constantly try to go for Dendi, because we can see how much damage this Ursa is able to put out. He's out of mana right now, does need to level up that overpowers to kind of get that burst online versus the lifestealer.
Seneko could be in trouble here. I think G was thinking about it. His blink was cooling down, but Seneko fairly low and will end up backing out of the lane.
Now Luna's gonna take some extra damage. Blink forward for a dagger. There's not much that Luna can actually do about that except for just take it.
Yeah, it's definitely a lane where G can be pretty far forward most of the time. Can be pretty aggressive, not too worried about being caught out by this duo. As you mentioned, the Ursa perhaps a bit scarier if he uses his blink aggressively. But with this duo can, generally speaking, just walk away. And Ditya does end up going for the infused range ops just to block up soak up the initial damage from that Shadow Strike coming out from the Queen of Pain. And once again, we're going to have a pause. Looks like King are having a few difficulties with connection wise, but other than that, Navi should be fairly happy with this early game and how it's going. As you mentioned, maybe the one gap there is the experience gain in the mid lane.
Can we equate this Luna mid to how teams have viewed Juggernaut in the past? I think they're always kind of similar as heroes. Luna, I guess that's the harassment benefit of Lucent Beam versus the defensive power of Spin. The defensive power of Spin is like, you can't estimate that. But still, this is a hero that will be getting decently safe experience as long as it's just Queen of Pain. In this mid lane, you are very close to the Ancient stack, which is something that Luna is going to want to do anyway. It doesn't seem like it's punished just yet, and unless something changes from Empire's rotations from the Witch Doctor or ET, it seems like Luna is just not going to be punished here. Like, even when Sonic Wave comes up, it'll hurt, but if Eclipse comes out at around that same time, then Queen of Pain is just never going to have a chance to blink in and go aggressive for that soft Luna kill.
Bottom lane, Torrent gonna catch Aloha Dance. Dendi goes back in with the Earthshock, but King R is nearby to stave him off. And that'll be the end of that bottom lane. And now Miposhka up in the mid lane alongside his Queen of Pain for G. But yeah, Deira, perhaps the only fundamental difference between her and the Juggernaut is that Juggernaut a lot better at taking those risky little skirmishes by the runes, so he benefits from the bottle, whereas Luna doesn't really end up going that route. But yeah, very similar in the sense that once they do have a lot of solo kill potential. Once they pick up the level 6, the farm definitely benefits them well, and you get that kind of extra farming roll out of the mid lane. Bottom lane, they are going to catch the cast, and go for the stomp perhaps here onto Dendi. Pretty overpower. Rage is there. Stomp's not gonna. Oh, it barely does connect onto Dendi. Torn is there though. They're gonna turn onto Aloha dance, but with the punches from the stapler, no. The Lifestealer will go down first. Miposhka will be able to find the return kill. It actually goes the way of King R. But Ursa is the first to spill blood there in the bottom lane, so he will be the one benefiting from the experience over the Lifestealer. 140 going his way, about the same going the way of the two supports for Empire. They still are disrupting this safe lane though, and Ghostic farming well, 23-1 to the 29-3 of General. You expect the Sand King to have a little bit of an advantage in this lane up against any kind of melee laner, but now that there's a couple levels in the time lock and the time walk, for Ghostic, they should trade relatively evenly, and Ghostic does have that all-important epicenter, or that all-important chronosphere up, whereas the epicenter perhaps not as scary at this point in the game, and often not skilled up, even at this level 6 juncture.
Not really good versus the Rage of the Lights. A little bit of a lane switcheroo here, and that was the issue with what Empire were doing on bottom lane. The way that they get kills with these heroes is very slow, just kind of getting the CC up. Lots of right clicks are involved, and then Ursa just turns around and claws your face off. So it is, I think, a good decision for Empire to swap this up. If they play more emphasis on shutting down mid lane, it's a lot easier. Probably has just
G missed the scream. G blinked to the north, expecting Snake to go north. He can do it south. Missed the stream. They're gonna expand the Chronosphere anyways. Cass goes in. They're gonna take out Saneko. Feels like they could have got that kill without it though. And Miposhka, yeah, to the south, he's gonna be taken out to General art style as well as Dit Yara. So when all is said and done, I would say advantage Navi, considering a Chronosphere used from Empire's side.
Just a little bit of downtime for Navi to breathe a little bit easier. They keep the Luna out of harm's way, which is super important for Ditcharaj. Has to keep farming, and emphasis is placed away from Dendi on the bottom lane, who had a kind of slow CS start, but is now starting to really ramp up. Lane not really going to get all that much worse going up against Ghostic. Yeah, Time Walk is still definitely a skill, but Dendi, as he's leveling up, is just going to output so much extra damage as he especially levels up the Overpower and the Fury Swipes combo against Ghostic. So these lane rotations for Empire just not working out quite as well as Navi, who aren't really spending anything to rotate their lanes. They're just sitting in the lanes that they've kind of started out with, and Empire working a lot harder for not that much benefit at this stage in the game. ET, Witch Doctor doing pretty well so far, but it just seems like they're not doing well versus the right heroes.
Yeah, in general, is just farming up a storm in this top lane, constantly side pulling here. There's nothing to disrupt him, getting the full benefit of all the creep waves coming from the Dire side as well. You're looking at, you know, full bracer and drums up here at the 7.5 minute mark, so really good start for General. Even rotated in towards the mid lane once to help out with that kill on the Titan.
They have to commit probably 2 heroes if they want to handle General really easily. I saw Aloha Dance teleport back to the base. Not sure if that was because General was actually threatening him with the kill. I gotta say that's likely given the Sand King right now, but you know, he has the epicenter, he's got the drums. Killing him off at this point, because Empire, you know, are again very reliant on right clicks, is going to be hard between the Burrow Strike, the Sandstorm, and the extra movement speed when he decides to pop that drum charge to get out of there. The Sand King is rather removable unless they decide to drop the Chronosphere on him, but then the Chronosphere is on the bottom lane. It's not really possible. Flips now towards mid lane. G trying to Sonic Wave, but unable to do so. Rod just burns him down with the Eclipse. That's a little bit too far for Queen of Pain.
Yeah, good. Luckily for G, he doesn't end up using the Sonic Wave. Dit Yara wisely fogging him right away, but it feels like if you're going to go for that play, you've got to kind of throw the Sonic Wave over the top and then blink in and scream. And he went to pop the double damage rune, which seemed to perhaps tip off Dit Yara a little bit. Blinked in, went for the scream, and then Sonic Wave after, which Unfortunately, he didn't want to expend into the fog, so nicely played as well by Artstyle. He was kind of in cast animation, Xing him back, returning him via the X marks and stopping him from doing that. So nice reaction from both Dityara and Artstyle to net a kill on a very important target. And now the top 3 net worth contenders in the game, all on the Radiant side.
And this the Sand King is going to be probably the most problematic of them all. The Ursa and Luna can definitely get going versus Roshan specifically, which they will eventually look out for, but General is just unstoppable in this lane. He's going to Burst Strike in, open runes, Stomp will connect. Okay, everything lands here for Empire, but the boat's coming in. Reinforce the General, and now the Burrow Strike's off the ET. Loa Dance is here for some damage, but I don't think he has enough to get killed, especially not when yanked back by the X. So General walks out of there, intercepts from the rest of the Empire heroes. Are smoked up, but they can't get there in time. They're looking at Seneko in the mid lane. Pretty screwed Shadow Demon, but it's a Shadow Demon.
Yeah, once again, 2 Chronospheres, 2 Shadow Demon kills. Doesn't feel like it's nearly enough for Empire. They're gonna want more than that. And it was a really nice play by Miposhka, knowing that he was dodging upwards. Or knowing that he was going to try and dodge to place that Spirit upwards, and a nicely landed stomp. But again, Artstyle, right place, right time thus far for Navi, and he's netted 2 kills and in fact saved his Sand King as well, top lane. So Navi, good rotations for them. So thus far, G just hasn't seemed all that scary, and he was kind of the hero that got the most attention for Empire's side early on. They tried to ensure that he had a good lane, and unfortunately G hasn't been able to make anything out of it. Had that blunder going for the kill on the Luna. General manning up, cast bouncing through. Miposhka gonna try and get the stomp off, but Burrow Strike will keep him safe.
Maledict not nearly a high enough level in order to kill off the Sand King at this point, so if farm will continue for him. We have X Torrent on G, no boat. That'll show him. Not really sure what that was about, but the Luna in the meantime is actually shifted down to the bottom lane. Dendi with the Morbid Mask, more than comfortable enough to start jungling, so it's time for Navi to start shuffling up their lanes and give some love to their supports. And level 7 on the Kunkka, level 6 on the Shadow Demon, they are already 1 level above the supports on the Empire side. Doesn't really seem like they need all this much room over towards the mid lane. They're just trying to get as much value possible with someone farming the lane. And of course Ursa at a certain point with this mask can sneak in for Roshan pretty much by himself and make sure he takes that one. So this is all coming up Navi, especially with the smoke. X-Mark, here comes the boat in the torrent. It doesn't miss. Okay, it misses.
Nice reaction by G, immediately able to blink out, and there is a bit of a cast point on that. So if Artstyle lands it perfectly, that's impossible for G to do. But in the meantime, General able to pick up a kill on Miposhka's Elder Titan. Could use the epicenter for it.
Using epicenter early on for kills is actually like really attractive. Same with Chronosphere. Like you can hold it all day long waiting for a perfect epicenter, but until you get your Blink Dagger, it's not going to happen. But his Blink Dagger is actually not too far away. 1500 with this tower drop in soon as well. Yeah, it's going to be time for Sand King to really start dominating the map, and in the meantime, while this is happening, Empire, their Lifestealer, is doing a whole lot of nothing. TP towards top with the Queen of Pain inside.
Oh, they're setting up for this,
again,
though.
So difficult to kill. I don't think they can get anything here. Lifestealer's wasting a lot of time.
And Demonic Purge onto G. Now the Eclipse comes out as he blinks for it again. G's going to be punished for it. General will be the trade going down to Loa Dance, who gets the rage up. Jump force. Chronosphere will catch onto 2. Both doesn't do a whole lot of anything, but it passes through a couple. Nice Earth Splitter, but the disruption's there for now for Dityara. But Miposhka swipes that by Dendi. 2-man Earthshock is going to be there. Rage to purge it off. They're going to jump forward. They'll find Artstyle. Ends up being a 2 for 2 thus far. Dendi going to pop his ultimate. Doesn't want to continue forward for Aloha Dance as King R did come into the fray. Ends up being a 2 for 2, but they get G. When all is said and done, Sonic Wave going to be expended as well as the Chronosphere, and just the Eclipse used on Navi's side. So Navi feeling a little bit more fight ready. Definitely look at Roshan for Navi, and G immediately pinging it out on the Queen of Pain. Dendi, that is a potential route for him after knowing that both the Sonic Wave and Chronosphere are on the sidelines.
Extremely clutch disruption there from the Shadow Demon, saving the Luna from the L-Titan Earth Splitter, which I don't know if would have killed off the Luna in the end, but it would have been very, very close at the very least. So Navi, they don't have an Eclipse right now. They still have Epicenter, but they have the luxury of an Ursa who doesn't need any substantial help to go for this Roche. If they really do want to post up and try to go for it, Empire don't have any tools to fight back. Still 70 seconds until they're going to be at their full strength, and then Roshan is going to be dead for about 50 seconds, so Navi just pulling out the right cooldowns and getting, yes, a slightly better trade, but it almost just seems like that previous trade doesn't matter because they're able to get this as long as they don't get called up too much. G's going to get a little bit too close in Burrow Strike, and the episode 3 going. G egg mark, he's back in. He does not want to be here. Boat going to come in as well. Earlier Boat did some serious work for Navi sustain-wise, but Empire, they have to be careful not to just throw bodies into this. Either commit everyone or commit no one.
General, looking for Miposhka. They did see the Spirit walk back, so they know his relative location, but all that matters is they're bodying him away from the pit, and Dendi is able to finish off his shot. So, Dendi will get the last hit, and the Aegis as well from the Roshan. Yeah, we talked about it in the draft. No need to continue harping on it, but X marks against Queen of Pain, pretty darn good ability, and art style has been well positioned pretty much through the entire game thus far. He's been very influential on this Kunkka. 6 out of 8 kills he's been involved in. Sandstorm going to be there. Get your rock comes through with the Eclipse and the Lucent Beam to cancel the Death Ward as well as kill off the Witch Doctor. Goes to queuing up the Chronosphere, but without a Witch Doctor Death Ward, I mean, he just didn't have all that much to contribute into the Chrono. D now joining the fray, but jump forward from Dendi. One more right click. Oh, he's going to get chronoed up. Earth Splitter will be there. Just the Aegis go, they bring him down. And it looks like he had the damage reduction for the Earth Splitter. The disruption is going to be there defensively onto Seneko. Will keep him alive. X-Mark is on to G. Now the Burrow Strike coming through. A couple right clicks from Dendi with the Torrent. G goes down. Dendi off to the east. Still has an Aegis available. Blink cooling down in 4 seconds. X to King Art. He's in trouble. Lucent Beam will be there. Couple right clicks. He's brought down Seneko, and they'll get the tower. Navi rolling over Empire in the bottom lane, taking out that Witch Doctor early with the Eclipse. Empire felt like they could fight with that big ultimate off the board, but never in a good position to find a Chrono, and even when they did, G just not in position to follow it up.
You know what's doing a lot of work here? It's the fact that art style has decided to max out X marks. We've been seeing a lot of different Kunkka builds lately, but most of them, at least nowadays, are kind of going a little bit more budget on the X marks, just a couple for the effect, but drastically lowering the cooldown while increasing the range. It almost seems like it's constantly catching the Empire side off guard. So art style, yes, his positioning is good, but also he has so much extra range with his X marks to work with that he's just not ever in a position where he can't cast desired target. That means he's also staying alive for the vast majority of things as well. So maybe a little bit less damage coming out from this Kunkka than some different build, but getting all the kills in the world for Dendi, for the Luna. 5-0-3 on her. General is going to be posting up in a really aggressive spot. Land the Burrow Strike. Here comes the combo onto Miposhka, Torrent, and Boat. Kalamo, that's a dead
with style.
Low Dance has arrived, but can't do anything. So Navi again, just getting pick off after pick off, and starting to add up. Empire, they are 100% reliant on their ultimate these kills, and no, they off their courier.
Rip.
Although it's bugged out on my screen, still not dead.
Nothing on it regardless, but a nice little influx of gold. Going Navi's way, and everything, honestly, going Navi's way at this point. Dendi does have his Blink Dagger available. He just, in hand, General gonna find a kill onto G, bottom lane. Not exactly sure how that happened, but it looks like Blink in at the epicenter. He perhaps hanging around a bit low. A couple of pulses underneath the stun duration, enough to bring him down. Huge solo kill, excuse me. 760 experience going the way of General Sand King. And yeah, we talked about him being problematic before. Now, top lane, Dendi jumping in onto Aloha Dance. He's going to try and man up. We'll just end up open wounding and turning away. Blink, though, it is cooling down in a couple seconds here for Dendi. But Rage will be there for Aloha Dance, and he will be able to walk it out. However, I mean, Navi is occupying the enemy jungle at this point. Warden gives them a lot of vision. They have a lot of initiation potential with the Kunkka, with the 2 Blink Daggers on the Ursa and the Sand King. So very difficult place for Empire to go to farm, and that's not exactly what their team is built to do. They're built to fight, but they go in for a Chronosphere again on a solo support. They should be able to at least get the kill on Archel, but he gets the boat off. In the meantime, boat's gonna land onto 2. Eclipse will come out. G's in trouble again using his Blink aggressively. X was there to bring back his corpse. And the Torrent will connect onto Aloha Dance. He's trying to armor toggle, doing a decent job of it, is able to bring down the Luna. But still, 1 for 3 at this point. Dendi on the tail end. General finds another in the trees. That's Miposhka. He's gonna draw. And Navi is controlling these team fights entirely. The Chronospheres have been subpar, to say the least, from Ghostic, constantly just catching out one support. And at least in the last two attempts, it was the Shadow Demon. But in this one, the Shadow Demon was able to get a disruption off. So Chronospheres have been, you know, not ideal, to say the least, for the Empire side. And this is going to cost them not only a pretty influential fight, but a tower on the back of it.
They weren't expecting the Shadow Demon to be right there, so the Witch Doctor immediately drops the level 2 Maledict and misses completely because the Kunkka is in the bubble and has the armlet, so it is not an easy kill. Not the simple squishy support. So Empire are a little bit trigger happy right now with their ultimates on cooldown. They can do nothing but really fan down the hatches and hope to not lose that many heroes. But I say that over to mid lane, King R jumped by Sand King and Ursa, get a kill, almost walk cleanly out. General put to sleep, doesn't matter. Here comes Ditchera, here comes the combo, which is in the draft a little bit a roundabout way to assemble it. Luna last pick, but how even they have Luna, pretty good killing off heroes.
Yeah, definitely so. They have Ursa and Sand King pretty good at killing off heroes, so they do gotta work hand in hand. And now first tier 2 of the game going to be off the board here. 20 minutes in. Navi looking very strong right now. You never really see a Luna this far ahead this early, and this is a hero that can do a lot of work. Taking a look at the levels highest in the game on the Luna, everyone pretty much sporting their level 2 ultimates, but Artstyle, he's been rewarded for his contributions in this game. He's going to use the torrent. Oh, and does he get the X off?
No,
didn't look like he did, but yeah, either way, a little bit of a fail bolt. But you mentioned it, armlet, arcane boots, already finished up. He's going for a Crystallis and is pretty close, but more importantly, he's level 11 here, 20 minutes in, alongside his Shadow Demon as well, whereas their counterparts are level 8 and 7 in the Titan and Witch Doctor, respectively. General, bot lane, he's going to be bubbled up during his open wounds. Jump forward, Ghostic's going to find again a solo Chronosphere onto Saneko in the backlines. They'll come through with the Eclipse, bring down King R. 1 for 1 thus far. Now Dendy's going to find one in the trees. That's going to be the Void for Ghostic. He's going to drop another Chronosphere off the board, and this bot lane tier 2 is all but left for dead at this point, with creeps marching up with Ditchera.
Lifestealers in there as well. Big burrow strike forward for the and not quite in range. The Lifestealer going to make it out of here. And he has rage, I suppose. He has some cover.
He should have gone. He should have gone right there.
Yeah, he should have gone right now. He would have been fine, right?
Well, I mean, Infest would wake them up. It's interesting.
Wait for the push. Push is bringing him to safety.
I'll play it Aloha. Not sure if they were even privy to that fact that he was in there, but G trying to cut the wave mid. We'll be able to blink out. But already, we're talking about Aether Lens onto Saneko, the Armlet Crystallis on Artstyle. Not are rich in this game. You take a look at the metrics, and they're sporting a 15k net worth lead at this point, about 12k in the way of experience, and 4 outer tier towers off the board already for Empire. When you have a Queen of Pain, Elder Titan, and a Void, having no map control or vision is going to be extremely detrimental to your ability to take good team fights. And it looks like at this point, it's almost as if Empire are completely relying on chokes like the Pit or their high ground in order to take good fights.
What we haven't seen from Empires any like real infest combos that have actually found any sort of success. Like that's kind of the reason why they picked up Lifesteal. Not because he has the rage, yes, but like particularly great at just like being a carry. He's good at really getting those fast pickoffs on these kind of generally softer core heroes like Luna, which was in the opening first 2 picks of Navi. That so far no blink infest combos at all, I want to say, and if there were, they haven't really been on the right targets. So this Lifestealer now just forever, especially with the Ghost Ship on the Kunkka now being level 2. Like, he's gonna have that single fight guaranteed, and Artstyle has been landing the boats damage and rum on what, like 4 heroes total at least every single time. So it's a really tough game to be a Lifestealer. He needs a little bit more on top of this fresh Desolator. Like, Desolator is great with the armlet 23 minutes in. It's like a reasonable amount of gold for Lifestealer to have, but he just is not really gonna have the time of day just to get kills with just those items. He needs that. He needs another item, or he needs an ally to really set up for him. So far, they're gonna try to infest bomb someone bottom lane, but there's no one here.
Speaking of hard knock life for a Lifestealer, Crimson Guard completely or completed up, excuse me, for General in the top lane. So they are going to be hitting like wet noodles in terms of physical damage for the Empire side, even with natural order. And they will to chip away at the tier 1 bottom, but their tier 2 top lane is already down, and their tier 3 is taking some punishment here. Dendi jumps up towards the high ground. Illusion's going to constantly be thrown at the buildings, and Empire aren't really that great at dealing with these illusions, even though it is relatively early and they are fairly squishy.
And they can siege this all day long. They have the X marks on the Kunkka, so they could just teleport back whoever needs to be teleported back for whatever reason, get an item or heal up, and then X marks right back into the fight. They could stay here forever, honestly. And as long as the tower is taking damage, and it is taking quite a bit of damage, there really is no real reason for Navi to fall back. It's not like Empire are farming anywhere. It's not like any of the lanes are being split pushed. So Navi just be a little bit patient with their push up towards top lane, and eventually the towers go down. Eventually Empire, I think, will have to try to smoke up and around for this. We see Dendi though, he's smoking out, going for Roche by himself or going on a secret mission. He wants this Aegis, but he's gonna find a Face Void instead with an Invis. I can't do anything about that.
Actually, a little bit fortunate to walk north at the exact time where his smoke would have been popped by the invisible unit. General showing himself mid lane, and Navi will give it a break for the time being, but they've got the run of the map right now, so really not worried, as you mentioned, about trades being found by Empire anywhere, even if they are running in tight quarters.
Boy, don't Chronosphere the Shadow Dude. God damn it, man.
Crimson Guard is going to be there. Earth Splitter will come through, but Disruption, Self-Disruption is there in time. Looks like going to be X'd up and likely brought down. They actually missed the Torrent though. Sonic Wave does come through. G is able to get up to the high ground, but the Eclipse on the low ground from Raw finishes him off. Dendi, he's going to be forced to pop the Enrage now. Bolt comes through, kills off King R. Nice Burrow Strike. Epicenter going to come through as well. They do end up getting Dendi in time. Torrent is just a bit late, but Aloha Dance will end up going down. 4 down for Empire, and they are without their Ursa. But it looks like Dendi, yeah, he's going to have to buy back here since they still have tier 1s on the map. He'll TP right in towards that mid lane. And with the Luna Illusions, they'll go to work on this high ground. They're going to force out 2 buybacks immediately from Aloha Dance, as well as Ghostic on the Void. But no Chronosphere available, no Sonic Wave, no Earth Splitter. So there's really no reason not for Navi not to hang around and at least throw illusions at these buildings. Jump forward to Aloha Dance. He's in a little bit of trouble. Gets purged up. Torrent though will be dodged by the Rage. General in trouble. Has the Sandstorm if he needs it. Disruption again is going to be there. The Rum will connect with it as well. And he's still surviving because of it. They need one more right click to bring him down. Jump forward from Ghostic will find. Now the fight a little bit spread out. South to the north going to be taken out. Dendi in the meantime, just not team player, is going to take out Roche. So Navi, they end up losing General and Art Style, not entirely ideal, but they force out a couple of buybacks. One in the Lifestealer, and one on the Void. The trade for Dendi's. They get an Aegis, lose a couple heroes, and all is said and done. Still in a very good position. Good grip on this game.
And just a very opportunistic play there from Navi. The game plan was just, push in with Luna Illusions, commit nothing, and just get Dendi the Roshan in the meantime. But hey, I mean, if you find pick off opportunities like that, you might as well try to go for them. But starting the fight voluntarily, 4v5, not really the best of plans. But now, just wait a little bit of extra time. They'll have all of their ultimates back up online in just another 20 seconds. Everyone's going to be alive by then with the Aegis. Ursa shouldn't have the Ags by then. Doesn't seem like he has for that, but all these pushes have been really slow because they're only committing the illusions of the Luna. Now that they have the Aegis on Dendi, they can afford to put the Ursa in there as well, or have him hang off to the side and be more than happy to jump in and actually get kills. And therefore break open the doors with everyone afterwards. So Navi looking to save some time by getting this Roshan, and hey, you might as well start building towards that third Roche. And at this point, it seems like Navi are almost guaranteed that Aegis cheese in the future.
Love this decision from Dayura as well. I was contemplating what item he wanted to go for, and I was thinking Butterfly, but I think better is Scotty, just because they have a Crimson Guard. There's not that much physical damage on Empire's side, and they want to tank up these illusions and constantly throw them at the higher ground. Scotty, the perfect item to do that as well. Wisely so, they've thrown the gem onto the Shadow Demon, or they picked up a gem at least for their side to start and take away some of the vision from Empire, so they can just constantly, with no risk, rinse and repeat this towards the mid lane, and down goes the tier 3 with no response from Empire.
Dendy's waiting. He has a basher. He needs some luck if they're gonna insta-give the lifestealer though. Or General can just start that off, which is probably a little bit of a better idea, but the illusions are doing some serious damage.
Yeah, even G taking
the range
quite a
racks,
bit.
that damage is permanent. The buildings in the back, you know, extra gold for the Shadow Demon and the Luna, depending on what illusions actually are able to grab that. So Empire cannot afford to sit here. Again, there's no split push going on. They're not farming any heroes. They're just looking for the opportunity, and so Sand King can jump in, find two, and miss both.
Torrent gonna whiff as well. But in the meantime, Illusion's working on the buildings. The range rax is at 50% HP. Thomp is going to catch Ditya Raw, but they don't opt to jump forward. A Chronosphere would likely only connect onto the Luna there, so they are withholding it till they jump up. Two-man Burrow is going to be found by General, but an instant counter-initiation. Chrono is going to find three from Ghost, and Earth Splitter is beautifully placed by Mipochka, and Ditya Raw going to go down as well as Artstyle G. He's able to blink out. And what a combination from Ghostic and Mipochka there. Jump forward though, Epicenter re-engaging. King R and Mipochka gonna go down. General finds both of them as they bring down the Shadow Demon. General gonna pay with his life, however. So overall, very poor fight for Navi. They don't get any of the buildings. And an instant reaction from Ghostic as General goes in, finds the backline, finds three heroes in the Kunkka, the Shadow Demon, and the Luna, all of which get hit by that Epicenter. Beautifully played, and that's that combination that they built in the first phase of draft. So Empire, you know, we touched upon it. They're going to rely entirely on kind of choke points and, you know, fighting with a high ground advantage. And there they are able to kind of claw their way back into this game.
Yeah, finally able to land a Chronosphere on more than one hero, and there are relevant heroes in there as well as the combo. Ghostic, time walks out. Dendy, never lucky bash just yet. A lot of time. Should have gotten a bash there, but it's going to be Empire, bottom line, landing a Chronosphere, which so far just hasn't happened. And level 3 Chronosphere at this point, cooldown a little bit more friendly. Navi, they just have to watch their spacing a little bit more, make sure the Shadow Demon is a little bit more so in the back. Either lens with Disruption is quite a lot of effective range for the Shadow Demon, so in general, he shouldn't be caught by that Chronosphere, but a little bit of a slip up there for Navi, and it is going to cost them quite a bit. All that being said, though it is a pretty nice win for Empire, they can't get any towers off of it. There's no Roche to take after it, so it's a team fight win for the sake of a team fight win, and that's all well and good considering the state of the game. But I don't think Navi are going to be upset about that fact. They still have this Aegis on the Ursa. They still have Disruption and Luna with Meta Style, so they can get right back on the horse and continue beating down the range racks.
Definitely so. Art style. And towards the mid lane, gonna start on that journey alongside Dendy. Aegis should be expiring here yet in about 40 seconds, so a small window for them to take advantage of that, but they'll TP right back in towards the mid lane, as you mentioned, and go look at high ground once again. It'll look like Empire will try to find a bit of a trade with Aloha in the bot lane, but hasn't really seen anyone just yet, other than Artstyle, but well aware that Navi's in the mid lane and gonna make his way back to base in order to defend. Jump forward from Netting, X'd up, gonna try and take someone out, uses the enrage, will be pulled back for the cast can land. Meanwhile, the range rack's gonna be down, jump forward from Ghostic. He is gonna find a Chrono onto two, but the Bolt comes out, connects onto Ghostic. Earth Splitter is pretty good, Death Ward coming out, Dendy taking a lot of damage. Does he have the Aegis? He still will have it up for now, and it now just ends up giving him the regeneration buff to get back into the fight. Nice counter initiation from General as well, and this should buy enough time. Ghostic down for the melee racks to fall. Illusions again, one's going to be created up. Elder Titan, one of the better heroes at the game at counter siege, is going to look to try and stymie Ditya Raw for now, but melee rack in a little bit of trouble. Over towards the east, B looking to initiate from the backside. He jumps forward with the Sonic and will catch Ditya Raw, but he immediately is punished for it as General counter initiates onto him. He will buy back, though. They don't want to hang around too long. They bring down the Lifestealer and look to back out to Navi's side and reset. Stomp is going to catch on Dendy, cancels up the Earn Tick as well. Jump forward, G will finish him off. Orchid up onto General as well. They're going to look to continue to pick. Yule Scepter is there. X back onto King R into Torrent, but they're going for the more important target. Epicenter is there, but G, they use the X on King R. Perhaps General was expecting them to have it. And now they will have to back out and sack Saneko, who will end up going down. When all is said and done, do force a buyback out of G, and they get the racks in the mid lane. So the return kills, not that big of a concern for Navi.
Queen of Pain getting all those kills with buyback, so not that much gold. BKB Orchid is about all that she's going to have item-wise for the next portions of the game, and Navi took the vast majority of that fight without actually committing any heroes to the high ground, and now that mid lane is down, it's all the more easy to switch over to those side lanes and do the exact same thing, except this time they're going to have a Daedalus on the Kunkka. He was able to grab that, and the Aghanim Scepter finally completed on the Ursa. I have Scotty Luna. Like the benefits off of that last fight, just gold wise, for Navi are really going to be difficult for Empire to deal with, because the items that they got after those kills, there are none. Yeah. Are there any? There's a Pastron Lifestealer. That's okay, but it's nothing near what Navi had.
Aetherlens up on the Witch Doctor, but he's been taken down relatively easily in most of these fights with all the range offered to them from general initiations and just a Lucent beam to hit him from afar. But either way, bot lane, as you mentioned, the side lane is going to be the target now for Navi, and a little bit of Dire Vision is scouting out their rotation in towards this lane, so they can feel pretty safe to push out the other lanes in the meantime, but looks like that's not the key for them. They're going to look to fight. They're going to look to find a Chronosphere, knowing that the heroes are currently bunched up. They want to take this fight out of their base where it's a little bit less predictable. Ghostic gonna have his smoke pop. It doesn't see anyone. Jumps forward, finds the Chronos. Only on to take your Ross. General is shooting up the epicenter and will find the Witch Doctor in the backlines. Both gonna come through as well. Date your Raw, he's just fine. Ghostic in trouble, gonna get bashed up. Has a time walk in a second, will walk out towards the east. Meanwhile, over on the west, Aloha Dance trying to man up against the support Kunkka, and that is even difficult for Empire to do. 3 heroes on the sidelines, none of which have buyback. You might even want to call that game at this point. Arcstyle gonna take himself back to base with the X marks, heal up a little bit, grab himself a smoke and a salve, and will join his teammates once again in that bottom lane, only minus their Seneko Shadow Demon.
Definitely a correlation here between how many heroes get caught with the Chronosphere and how well the fight goes for Empire. That fight caught a Chronosphere onto 1, the disruption made it 0. They found Poshka hiding in the trees. Indy not even interested in clicking in for that. He's just gonna maybe save his overpower hits for some heroes, not hit the towers. Ghostic's gonna jump in, but they know there's no Chronosphere, there's no danger here. Bo's gonna come in and apply the rum onto pretty much everyone. They must have taken a lot of damage here with the Crimson to be able to walk out of there.
Level 1 guard and Crimson Guard, lol. But, yeah. Buildings be beaten into. General hanging around. A little bit cocky, but is going to be able to blink back out, and it looks like they will reset since Ditchara took a fairly considerable amount of damage. He'll be X'd, brought back. A little bit of health, and they can go to work once again with the illusions.
We have a cheese for Dendi, Aegis for Luna, or vice versa, something along those lines. Either way, this is the 3rd Roshan, and as predicted, Empire will be nowhere in the vicinity in order to contest this. Hell, they're still being pushed by Luna illusions while the Roshan is being killed off, so you got a double life for the Ursa. Luna having 2600 HP is going to get some pretty nice value out of that cheese. We need like a 4-man Chronosphere from Boy if they're going to turn this around, right? Like what we saw in the mid lane, that fight needs to happen again. Except it kind of has to be a little bit better because all the new items and the Aegis and cheese. There's a really tall order here for Empire to hold this.
General is not with the team currently, so look for Navi to play this very safe. They're going to throw Dendi up on the high ground with the X. He's got the Aghanim's to remove any disables as well, so can feel pretty safe to do this sort of thing. Meanwhile, mid lane, Ghostic and Miposhka looking to wrap here. There is a Chronosphere available, but they're not really committing much from Navi's side. Simply just throwing the illusions here. Dire Vision on the high ground is going to have some sort of idea of Navi's positioning, so perhaps offers Ghostic a good opening here, but for now it's simply Luna illusions up on the high ground.
Sand King is a freaking assault cuirass. Like, you never see this item on this hero because usually he's not this low to jump in for Ghostic. Like, gets a lucky bash, no risk, marks.
And meanwhile, melee rack's going to be taken out to the east of that. So that's 2 lanes down. Mid lane's pushing in, touching the tier 4s right now. Jump forward, though, they are going to find a general with the Chronosphere. Stomp will be there as well. Bolt is going to fly through and does not connect onto anyone. Sonic Wave will finish off General as he burrows up towards the high ground. G now jumping forward, is going to orchid up Seneko. Eclipse, though, it's going to do some return damage onto Aloha Dance and G. And they're all going to be dropped. Triple kill for Ditya, and the towel is thrown in from Empire here. Sub 40 minutes as Navi squash the rumors about any sort of internal conflicts. They look very good in this game one. Well drafted, well played overall. A couple of blunders on the high ground, but nothing that was ever too.
Step on the land.